So, good morning, students. Let us start with the today's concept is your flip flops. So, let us understand what is flip flop. So, the basic definition of a flip flop is an electronic circuit which has two stable states that can be used to store binary data, that is the data which will be in the form of 0 and 1. That's what we call it as a bistable. Either it will be in 0 or it will be in 1. So we have two states, one is 0 or one is 1. That's what we have, it is a bistable state. The stored data can be changed by applying the varying inputs. So whatever input that we give to this flip flop, depending upon that, the internal circuit will perform the necessary operation and the data keeps on changing. So basically, when we talk about flip-flop and latches, these are the fundamental building blocks of any digital electronic system that are used inside a computer or a communication system and many other types of systems that we use to design an digital electronic system. So basically, students, flip-flops and latches are used as data storage elements. It is the basic storage element in a sequential logic circuit. Fine. Now, let us first understand. Already we have seen the difference between a latch and a flip-flop in our previous class. So, without wasting much of our time in once again revising the previous concept, we directly move on to the concept that we are going to study in today's class. So when we talk about flip-flops, students, basically there are four different types of flip-flops that are available. We call it as a SR flip-flop, the JK flip-flop, the D flip-flop, and the T flip-flop. So SR flip-flop, which is also known as the set reset flip-flop, we have the JK flip-flop. The name JK is named after the person who has designed that particular flip-flop. We have another variation in that particular JK flip-flop, that is your JK master slave flip-flop. What is JK flip-flop and what is the JK master slave flip-flop? Those concepts we'll be discussing when we are going to study this JK flip-flop. D flip-flop, also known as the data flip-flop or a delay flip-flop, and we have a T flip-flop, or we call it as a toggle flip-flop. So let us start with the first flip-flop, that is your SR flip-flop. So the SR flip-flop is one of the fundamental parts of a sequential logic circuit. So yeah, SR flip-flop is a memory device and a binary data of 1 bit can be stored in it. So we can store a binary data of 1 bit where the data can be either 0 or 1. So the SR flip-flops has two stable states in which it can store data in form of either a binary 0 or a binary 1. So like all flip-flops, SR flip-flop is also an edge sensitive device. Now edge sensitive device in the sense what? When I talk that the data when we apply to this flip-flop gets applied whenever the clock is changing from 0 to 1. We call it as a positive edge triggered flip flop as discussed previously, or the data inside the flip flop may change whenever there is a change in the clock cycle, that is from high to low, and we call it as a negative edge triggered flip flop. So data inside a flip flop can change over the clock pulse. Whenever the clock pulse is moving from 0 to 1, we call it as a positive edge triggered because it is moving towards the positive end from 0 to 1, and we call it as a negative edge triggered okay, as it is moving from 1 to 0. So sometimes you find here the clock pulse, if they present it like this, it is a positive edge triggered, and if you find like this, then we could say the flip flop is working on a negative edge triggered. Okay, so you could see uh, that's what we call it as an edge sensitive device. Edge sensitive device because it keeps on changing at the particular edge only. Level means what? At this particular point. Level. Okay. So the flip flop changes over this particular time. So we have the positive edge triggered flip flops and the negative edge triggered flip flops. Fine. So flip flop is one of the most vital component in digital logic, and it is almost the most basic sequential circuit that is possible to design. The S and R in SR flip flop means set and reset. So S stands for set and R stands for reset respectively. Hence the name set reset flip flop. So here we have the symbolic representation of a SR flip flop as shown. So here you could see, students, here we have the E symbol. Instead of E, you can have here C, which stands for a clock. Okay, because we use the symbol letter E for the enable input in your SR latch. Here we have using C for the clock. So both tells the same, but here we have the clocked SR flip flop, so we are using the symbol C. You could see the circuit diagram of a SR flip flop. The circuit diagram looks same as that of your SR latch. Only difference that you could find is instead of the enable input, we have the clock input, and the today's circuit we are going to demonstrate will be working on a positive edge triggered flip flop. So this is how the circuit diagram of a set reset flip flop looks like. Now let us move on to the working of a SR flip flop. So SR flip flop works during the transition of the clock pulse either from low to high or from high to low. That is what I told, either from low to high, that is from 0 to 1, we call it as a positive edge, or from high to low, that is a negative edge. Okay, depending upon what kind of design you have. That's what I told, either you can have a symbol like this or you can have it like this, which tells it is working on a negative edge triggered flip flop. So we call it as either a positive edge triggered or a negative edge triggered flip flop. So in the question they may ask you like explain SR flip flop using a positive edge triggered clock pulse, or using or design SR flip flop using positive edge triggered clock pulse. So you have to uh, show most of the things remains the same, only in the timing diagram there will be a little bit changes that we'll discuss. So let us discuss with the case study. Okay, case 1, what will happen? So this is in term with respect to the truth table that we are going to discuss. This is case 1, case 2, case 3 and case 4. So your explanation should be as per the truth table that I have told you. So what is case 1? The case 1 will be when S and R input are 0 0. When S and R input are 0 0. So case 1 is when both set and reset inputs are low. When set and reset inputs are low, and we have the clock pulse also kept low, and we have not applied any clock pulse. So if there is no clock pulse applied, what will happen when it is 0 and 0? We know that the NAND gate will produce always a high output. Both the NAND gates will produce a high output. You can see the truth table of the NAND gate or that we have discussed earlier. So here what happens? The output remains the same. Okay, the output remains the same, that we call it as a previous state. whatever value q is holding, whatever value q is holding, if the value of q is 0, then q bar will be holding 1. So whatever values q and q bar are holding, the same value will appear on the output line. That's what we say the state of the flip flop is the previous state, that is it is holding the previous data. When both the set and reset inputs are low, again I am keeping both S and R are 0 0 only. So okay, here now S input is 0, R input is 0, and now what I am applying is I am applying the clock input. I am applying the clock input as high. Now you know that for a NAND gate, when either of the input is low, when either or both the inputs are low, the output is going to be high. So it does not make any difference to this NAND gate even if I make a clock pulse as low or high. So the output is still going to remain as high. And when the output is still going to remain as high, we are going to have the same output appearing on the output line, that is on Q and Q bar. So the output still remains in the previous state. The output still remains in the previous state what we had when we had kept the clock input as low. Understanding? So this is how the case 1 is all about, when S and R are both made 0 0, and initially when clock is also made 0, the output of Q and Q bar remains the same, and that state we call it as a previous state. In the same case, when S and R are both 0 0 and when clock pulse is made high, the output still remains in the previous state. It retains the same state as the previous state. The value of Q and Q bar holds the same data once again. So after applying the clock pulse, when S and R are 0 0, will not make any difference to the circuit output, and the output still remains in the previous state. Okay, that is the case 1. Next, when we move on to case 2, okay, when set input is low and reset input is high, that is when S is equal to 0, when S is equal to 0, and when R is equal to 1, when R is equal to 1. So what will happen when both the inputs are 1 1 to the going as 1 1 to the lower NAND gate? The lower NAND gate will produce a low output. The lower NAND gate will produce a low output. So what will happen here? When S is 0, R is 1, the flip flop state will move to the set state. Okay. So what will happen here? When S input is low and R input is high, with the clock input as high, the flip flop will be in the which state? The reset state. So for a positive edge triggered SR flip flop, okay, suppose if S input is high and R input is low, okay, during the low to high transition of the clock pulse, the SR flip flop is said to be in a set state. Okay, so that is what it is. So when set input is high and reset input is low, with clock input high, the flip flop will be in the set state. So now what has happened? Now what has happened? I have changed the state here. I have made S as 1 and R as 0. At this point of time, when clock input is high, the upper NAND gate will produce a low output and the lower NAND gate will produce a high output. Because of which, what will happen? The flip flop which was initially in the reset state, okay, which was initially in the reset state, now it will change to the set state. It will now change into the set state where the value of q will be, the value of q will be 1 and q bar will be 0. Q bar will be 0, and this state we call it as a set state, when S is 1 and R is, sorry, when R is 0 and clock input given is high. Okay, so the lower NAND gate will produce a high output, whereas the upper NAND gate will produce a low output, and that state we call it as a set state. Okay, this is what it is. Now moving on to the next state, that is case 4, when both the set and reset inputs are high. When both set and reset input are high, that is when we make both S and R, when we make both S and R as high, when we make both S and R as high and with clock input high, what will happen? Both the NAND gates, upper and lower NAND gate, will produce a low output. Okay, so the clock input is high, then the flip flop will be in a undefined state. The flip flop will be in the undefined state because the high input of S and R violates the rule of the flip flop that the output should be complement of each other. The output should be complement of each other. So this state we call it as a forbidden state. This state we call it as a forbidden state. This state violates the rule of q bar being complement of q. So here we have an undefined state. We have an undefined state for the condition when S and R are both 1 and clock input is also high. At and this state we call it as an undefined state. Okay, or we call it as an invalid state. We call it as an invalid state. Why? Because we are unable to define the state of q and q bar. Here q bar should be the complement of q, but what is happening here? You could see both q and q bar are having the same value, which should not be allowed, and this state we call it as an invalid condition. So this is how you need to explain the SR flip flop. Okay, so this is similar to your SR latch flip flop that we had. Okay, so you have the timing diagram for the SR flip flop. So you could see here when you have both S and R are 0 0, again with the clock pulse. When there is no clock pulse, q and q bar remains in the previous state. When clock pulse is rising, and when the value of S is high, and R is 0, q is set to 1, whereas q bar is set to 0. Now here what happens? Next, you could see that when the clock pulse is high and when the input of R is 1 and S is 0, okay, what is happening? Q has become 0 where Q bar is becoming 1, and so on. So this is how the explanation, students, for the SR flip flop, that is your clocked SR flip flop. Okay, now after understanding the first flip flop, that is your SR flip flop, now let us move on to the next flip flop that we have, that is the D flip flop. So what exactly is D flip flop? The D flip flop, we call it as a delay flip flop or a data flip flop. So D flip flop is by far the most important of the clock flip flops, as it ensures that input S and R are never equal to 1 at the same time. So here this flip flop is trying to avoid the condition which we call it as a forbidden condition or invalid condition that was occurring when both S and R input were high. To solve this problem, we have the next flip flop coming into picture, that is your D flip flop. So here what happens? We are trying to simplify the problem that has occurred in your SR flip flop, that is when both S and R are 1 1, the output is going in an undefined state or an invalid state. Okay, so how this D flip flop tries to overcome this problem. So D flip flop can be constructed from a gated SR flip flop with an inverter added to the SR input to allow for a single D input. We call it as a data input. Now, what are the modifications that we have done in the previous SR flip flop to avoid the last condition? What we have done is the input that is going to the R, okay, the input that is going to the R, that is to the lower NAND gate, we have added a NOT gate here. We have added a NOT gate here, you can see that, okay, which is acting as an inverter. So when S is going to be 0, R will be getting 1, and when S is equal to 1, R will be 0. So this is what we are going to have. Okay, so simultaneously both S and R are not going to have the same input at a given point of time. So we have a NOT gate been added as an inverted complement to the R input of the lower NAND gate. So the SR flip flop has an additional input coming with a NOT gate. The clock pulse and other thing remains the same, and we have only one input coming, that is the D input. Okay, that is the D input applied. Okay, here you can see the logic symbol of a D flip flop. Okay, we have a logic symbol of a D flip flop where we have one input, the second input is your clock pulse, and then you have the output Q and Q bar. Okay, now let us see the working of this D flip flop. Okay, so in case 1, when we do not apply any clock input, to the D flip flop, or during the falling edge of the clock signal, there will be no change in the output. So when, even if we don't apply a clock pulse, so if a clock pulse is not applied, okay, 0 0, okay, so whatever input you give it to the D, it may be 0 or 1, what will happen? The status of Q and Q bar will remains the same, so there will be no change. The flip flop retains the previous state, change. So there is no change in the memory, okay. So here you can see the arrow which is heading towards down, we call it as a 0, and the arrow which is heading towards up, we call it as a 1. So it is like this is heading from 0 to 1, so we call it as a positive edge, and the arrow heading down, that is from 1 to 0, we call it as a negative edge, like this. So we directly represent it as either 0 or 1, or you can use the arrow symbol to point out. Okay, the arrow which is pointing down, we call it as a 0, and if a arrow is pointing up, we call it as 1. Okay, it is one and the same. It is left to you, you can use any means to represent the clock signal. Okay, now here when you see that when clock is 0, whatever input that I apply, that is x value may be either 0 or the x value may be 1. The value that are stored inside Q and Q bar will not change. So the memory value that is stored in Q and Q bar will not change. Okay. In case 2, if the clock signal is high, now we are making a high clock pulse. We are giving a high clock pulse here. Okay. So the clock pulse is high. Okay. Now what happens? That is on the rising edge of the clock pulse. And when D input is high, now what happens? I am giving D input as high. When I am giving D input as high, what will happen? For S, it will be 1. Okay, 1 will come here, but for R it will be 0. So what will happen? Here it will be 1 and here it will be 0. Here it will be 1 and the upper NAND gate will produce a low output, whereas the lower NAND gate will produce a high output. Okay, so then the output is also high. That is simply for positive clock edge of the transition. That is, if D is equal to 1, Q is also going to be 1, and that state we call it as a set state, and that state we call it as a set state. Okay, now when S input D is given 1, the output Q is going to be 1 and Q bar is going to be 0, and that state we call it as a set state. Okay, we call it as a set state. In case 3, if D is input is low, in case 3 when we have D input as low. Okay, when we have D input as low, so what will happen? S input is going to be 0. Okay, here 0 is going to come, and R input you are going to get as 1. Now what happens? The lower NAND gate will produce a low output, whereas the upper NAND gate will produce a high output. So what will happen? Okay, and when we make D input as low, when I say D is equal to 0, when I say D is equal to 0, then the output will be low, that is, hence the Q follows the input D, that is Q equal to 0, and Q bar will be holding a value 1. So in the presence of the clock pulse, when we have the positive edge clock pulse given. Okay, so here if D is equal to 0, Q is equal to 0, and the state of the flip flop we call it as a reset state. And because here you can see, as discussed in previous class also, uh, the output follows the input. If D is equal to 0, Q is also 0. If D is equal to 1, Q is also 1. And because of that, we call D flip flop as a data flip flop. So here we have the timing diagram for the D flip flop. Fine. So you could see the only difference when D is 0 and D is 1, output is either set or reset. So here we, using D flip flop, we have tried to avoid the forbidden condition that occurred, or an invalid condition that occurred in your SR flip flop. Okay, fine. The next flip flop that we have is your T flip flop. The next flip flop, students, that we have is your T flip flop. So what is a T flip flop? A T flip flop is also known as a toggle flip flop. So to avoid the occurrences of an intermediate state in a SR flip flop, okay, so again we are trying to use a T flip flop to avoid the intermediate state that occurred when both S and R input were 1 1. So here D was one of the attempt to overcome the problem. There was another attempt been made by designing a T flip flop. So here what happens? Okay, we call it as a toggle flip flop, or sometimes we also call it as a trigger in flip flop also. Okay, because the flip flop acts like a toggle switch. Okay, toggles means changing to the next state of the output to complement the present state of the output. Okay, how the flip flop works, let us see. Now here we have the logic symbol of the T flip flop. Here again we have only one input, and the other input is your clock pulse, and we have two outputs, Q and your Q bar. Okay, here we have the circuit diagram. Instead of just a simple change that we have done in the D flip flop, what we had a NOT gate coming into picture. Okay, where we had S input and a R input. Okay, now the there is no NOT gate connected to this T flip flop. Here what is happening, whatever input that we have, okay, same input is going to a R also, okay, to the upper NAND gate. So we have the S, okay, we have the S input upper NAND gate, and we have the R input, and we have the clock pulse going for both the upper and the lower NAND gate. Okay, so we can design a T flip flop by making a simple modification to the SR flip-flop. So the T flip-flop is a single input device, and hence by connecting S and R input together and giving them with the single input called T, we can convert a SR flip-flop into a T flip-flop, or we call it as a toggle flip-flop. Okay, so how does flip-flop works? That is what we'll see. When we do not apply any clock input to the T flip-flop or during the falling edge of the clock signal, there will be no change in the output. There will be no change in the output. So when we don't apply a clock signal, and whatever the input value might be of t, it might be either 0 or 1, the output on q and q bar remains the same, and we call that state as a previous state. Okay, we have the previous value at the output q. In case 2, if t is low, when t input is low, okay, and the clock pulse is high, okay, clock pulse is high, the next state is same as the previous state. The next state is same as the previous state. So whatever previous state we had, the same state we are going to retain. That is q, if it is holding 0, okay, then q bar will be holding 1. If q was holding 1, then q bar will be holding 0. Okay, so we retain the previous state when we apply 0 at the when we apply 0 at the t input. Okay, when we apply 0 at t input, and when both clock inputs are high. Now in case 3, we have, if the clock pulse is high and t input is high, when clock pulse is high, and now we have made t input as high, we are giving t is equal to 1. Now what is happening here? The next state is complement of the previous state. The next state is complement of the previous state. So here you can see, students, that what was that? It is a complement. Here you can see, here the next state is the complement of the previous state. What is the next state? Here it is q bar, and what was the previous state? The previous state was q. That means if q was 0, now it will be 1, and if q bar was 1, it will be 0, and that state we call it as a toggle state, and that state we call it as what? A toggle state. Okay, so here that's what the name of this particular flip-flop, we call it as a toggle flip-flop. So the only difference that you could find in the D and T flip-flop is that we had a set state and a reset state when the value of q and q bar, sorry, when s and r were high and low. So you can see here, when s was 0, when d was 0, we call it as a reset state, and when d was 1, we call it as a set state. Now here in the T flip-flop, when t is 0, we have the q and q bar, that is the previous state, and when t is equal to 1, we have the complemented state of the next state is the complement of the previous state. Okay, so this is how we call it as a toggle flip-flop. Okay, or we call it as a complemented flip-flop. So these are the flip-flops that we were supposed to discuss in today's class. Okay, we have discussed the set reset flip-flop, we have discussed the D flip-flop, and we have discussed the T flip-flop. In the next class, that is tomorrow, we will be discussing about the JK flip-flop, and then we will discuss about the characteristic equation of SR, JK, D and T flip-flop, which will in turn help you to design various sequential and uh, circuits or counter designing problems. Okay, so that is all about today's class.